Hello, in this video we are going to understand how we can apply validations on RESTful API applications. Now, what is an validation on Spring RESTful? Validation is a process of ensuring that the data entered into an application is accurate, secure, and follows the specified rules. What's the purpose? In the Spring RESTful application, validation is crucial for ensuring the integrity and consistency of data exchanged between the client and server. The common validation scenario, how does the validation will work? Basically the user input, validate user provided data to provide invalid or malicious input. Next, check with data integrity, ensure the integrity of the data before persisting it in the database. Request payloads, it is validate incoming request to the RESTful endpoints. What are the validation annotations in Spring? The validations annotations is being implemented from the Jakarta validation packages. So using Jakarta validation, there are various annotations which is being used in that to work on the field validations. We'll work on the field validations. There are various annotations which is being used. One is called at null, at not empty, at not blank, min and max value, and at size, specifies the size or length or constraint for a particular field. So these are all the annotations which is used in the Spring API. How do we apply validations in Spring controller? Is we need to use two different annotations. One is at valid annotation, which will be applied on the method parameters. There is binding results, which is another class which is which holds the results of the validation and binding. So this is where the validations process which is done in Spring controller. We'll see how exactly the validation can be done on a particular bean. As we have seen in the previous video that how do we create a bean, and as well as how do we access the get, post, and delete method and patch methods in a particular REST controller. Now we are going to apply some validations onto that particular setter and getter methods of a person on a field. So this is actually called as property in Spring and fields in validation. So to apply the validation on fields, we will use, because it is a string, so we are going to use the size. So in size, basically what does it do? So we are going to use the validation dependency. So what is the validation dependency is we need to add Jakarta dependency, which is validation dependency. So for that I'm going to use taken help of spring.io. I will add a dependency called validation. So this is your bean validation and as well as the thing. So I will just explore it. I need to add a validator tag which gets loaded onto it. Okay, fine. This is based on the Gradle, so I just wanted Maven based. So we are going to get the Maven based template. So in here we are having a starter kit which I have to add to this, which is called as Spring Boot starter validation. So I'll just add it to my project because I need to get my dependencies to be added. So this is what the dependency, I'm just adding it. So this is my starter kit, so validation will work. So they'll start from size. So this is comes under Jakarta validation constraint. So the size, what does it tell that I need to give minimum size. So I will tell minimum characters which is needed is 5, and I will specify the max of 200 for a particular, 100 for the name. And also I can specify a message if it exceeds the size. Name cannot be empty and over. So let's say name cannot be for the message. What I will do is right now I will just leave it as it is. I will just tell you about the message. Next we will go with not empty. So it means that it should not have any without any what do you say, it should not be empty. So what is the message I'm gonna tell is name cannot be. By default it will give me the message which is a proper message, it will be given. So in address I will specify the same thing as not empty. So in this particular not empty, again I will give message is equal to the address cannot be empty. So here also I will specify the not empty or not null. So I'll specify the size. So the minimum is equal to 10 and max is equal to 300 or something. I will just specify. So if it is less than min of that, so it will give me an the size which is less than 10. So this is the validation on the fields I am just working on. So now this is a particular bean validation annotation which has been added to that, and it is a constraint which has been added to that. Now how do I access in the controllers is that we will just put it onto an request body, or it is an the particular getting the value. So before it gets any kind of value, so what I will do is we will add a valid. So this is the tag which we are going to put it on whenever we are accepting the values in a JSON format. So we are going to check if it is valid or not. Then afterwards we are going to use another parameter which is called binding result. So this binding result will actually tell that whatever, if it is not valid, all the results which is actually present that will be added to the binding result. Now before we go further, so what we are going to do is we are going to just if there is any kind of validation, valid error, so if it is error, then display the error, otherwise you return the person. So that is what we are going to try to do the validation. So I will put a condition on ex dot has errors. So now this is the method which is being used. So this ex is called binding result, right? So from the binding result we are going to check that if it is having any kind of errors, because at valid is an annotation which will fill get all the particular results whatever it is able to find based on the constraint which is defined on that particular object, and properties are validated. So it gets validated and it is filled on the errors. what do you say, binding result. Now it has found, if it finds any kind of error, then what you can do is we can tell that return return errors. So it's a string which we are going to return, or we are going to tell that yeah. So I will just specify the string. So still we are not going further with respect to the, we need to go step by step. So step by step process it is being will follow it. So return only we can do that person dot to string, we are going to display it and it will sends back the details. So if it has no errors, then let it add the contents to the array list and let it display the person details. Now we will go still more further. Now what I will do is, this is just a small implementation of validate and trying out with the binding result. So I'll just run this. The server is started. So now we will go to the postman, and here we are going to send the details as a person. So now we are going to use post method, and whatever we have got the input as a JSON format, it's already placed. So now we will send as a request. Now it is checking that the name, it is having some kind of error which has been placed. So now name should have minimum of min and max, right? So I need to display it. So I am not able to understand that what is the type of error which I am going to get. So what I will do is we are going to check that what is an error. So I'll just display back onto the screen of ex. Okay, so now I will do a refresh and again I will restart. So this message will be displayed in here. So I will need to understand the what kind of error which is actually getting validated. Now I will send back the details. Now it is giving me error again. So I will go to that field. It is telling field error in object person on field address rejected value. So codes, why it is rejecting is because the minimum, the default, what is the default message it is giving me? The default message it is giving me is size must be between 10 and 300. So it is not, it is less than 10, I think. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. It is of 9 size. So I will give okay, this is the message. I will just this is what the format I will send. So now you can see that it has added the person and it has been converted to the toString, right? Now I will use a get method and I will get send the details. Now you can see that object has been added because it is again greater than 10. So this is how the validation will be done automatically, because I have specified here this size, minimum size is 10 and max is equal to 300. So now I will just reduce this particular size. It will get accepted because I need to show the messages which is getting displayed. So the size has been increased. Now how do I capture the errors? How do I capture the errors and I want to display it back onto the screen? So to display back onto the screen, what we will do is, if the binding result is having errors, so what I will do, I will capture it in the list. Okay, so in this I will give, next in this I will give ex dot get all errors or field errors I'm going to tell. So here this will actually give me an set of field errors. Okay, now this is about the field error, where we are going to tell that the list it is actually a field error which you are going to get. Now it is the field error. Now for I'm going to use the for loop to get all the fields based on this error. So here I am going to extract each and every field whatever is having an error. So based on that we are going to extract the default message. Now for that I need to display the I need to use the another array list to make it visible properly. So I will just put up a string. So I will use display message, display error. So in display error we are going to use a new array list. Okay, so I am going to complete this, where I can store the errors, whatever the existing errors we are going to get, right? So that is what we are going to capture, that particular error, and we are going to displaying back. Now I'm going to add the string content. So here how will I add is, I have already extracted the particular field error. Now I will take fe dot get field. So this is what the field which actually looks field I will get. So here I'm gonna tell that fe dot get default message. So whatever the object which I got an error, no, here whatever I got an error, so that error which is getting displayed in here as a default message. So I don't want to do like that, so it should get displayed back onto the screen itself. So we are captured whatever we have captured which is there in binding result, and checking that in that binding result it is contains any kind of error, and afterwards we are extracting all the field errors. There are various kinds of errors we can extract it, like you have exception errors, you can also have the object errors, so constructor errors, method errors. So all those particular errors can be extracted, but in this case we are just checking out with respect to the the field. So we are going to use a method called get field errors. Now from here, for the field errors you are going to have display the error. So we are going to add that onto the array list which is in string format, and that is called DE to display it back onto the screen. So this is a normal process where if you have any kind of error, then you display it back if it is the errors are found. So what I will do is I will return the list which is getting stored. Okay, so here I will just give an just general notion that I'm going to display it based on entity type. So this is a general list where we are going to present it back. So here also I will just tell if there are nothing, there is no error, and we are going to display it back with respect to the details of a list of a person. So this is how we are going to extract the errors onto the field. So let us see how it exactly looks like. Now we are going to run it back. We'll go to the postman, and here what I will do is I'll again remove this, and I'll send it on to the post method to get validated. When I send this particular thing, now you can see that the whole stuff as an array list. Now you can see address, it is giving me the field name, and also it is telling me there is a problem in this particular field name, right? So this is the way in which the whole stuff can be converted, divided in the fields. On the fields we can do a validation. So again there are another different process, which is the field validation, method validation. We can also do an constructor based validation. So all those specific validations can also be done. Now this is the process of how do you validate. So whenever we are accepting any kind of details, we can just do this validation, and we can see that this is an object on where we are going to do the validation. This is called a binding result. So when we add this annotation and then class as a parameter to that particular method, now you can see the whole stuff is getting changed. Now not only with the filters, we can actually extract a lot of things. So we can extract the field, or we can extract all the errors or global errors, equal, find editor, get class, get error counts. We can get error counts, the what kind of field error, get a field, what kind of error which is coming, get a field error on that particular string, and we can get field value, what is the value which has been specified and why it has given. So all those things, when we are going to specify what do you say, get from the results, whatever the we can also get the object name, what is the object name we are having the error. So